Okay, I think we're live, and I think we have the right dimension. We're landscape. We don't have to turn it today. We're already off to a good start.
Very nice. As long as you're running instead of me, we have a better chance.
You get this little pull out of the way. We're outside of the spring training clubhouse here in Jupiter, Florida. Frank Cusumano, Josh Helmuth. And it's been a very busy day, too, down here in Jupiter.
Oh, my goodness. I think we set a record for most interviews done in one day. So much to discuss.
Did a lot.
Let's begin with Miles Michaelis, one of our early interviews this morning. I think the news of the day is the fact that Miles is on record as saying his agent is talking and he wants to get a deal done here.
Yeah, you made a good point. In case you're unfamiliar, Miles is from Jupiter. Like, he went to high school here. He has a house here. This is his home. And Frank made a good point yesterday, thinking, I wonder if that had anything to do with him kind of, in a way, choosing the Cardinals when he came over back from Japan. And Miles wasn't shy about that. He did kind of admit that, yeah, that may have played an important role, and this is his home, and he likes the Cardinals. He wants to stay in the organization, and it's just a really good fit because he's from here.
About a year ago this week, we were down here, and it was Paul DeYoung getting his contract extension. I would not be surprised if, before the season starts, because I think once the season starts, Miles wants to lock in. But before the season starts, this thing happens. Maybe it's a 3-year deal, but boy, he is just the perfect Cardinal, isn't he?
I tell you what, he's someone that's not hard to root for.
Yeah.
And that's not just because he has perfect shampoo commercial hair, which I am truly jealous of.
Yeah.
Personal opinion. But no, Miles is a great person. On top of being a ball player, he just has a really great work ethic, and he's really down to earth, which is really cool. And I asked Miles today, now teams have a year's worth of footage on you. They're studying you. How do you combat their adjustments towards you this next season? And he said, you just have to have pinpoint accuracy. Just have to, right? If his control is there, he's like, you can't prepare for that. So he seems very confident he'll be able to repeat last year's numbers.
Okay, another topic I think today is the Paul Goldschmidt hit. We are right by the Cardinal offices, which you really can't see, but it's...
Here, I'll turn this around just really quick to show you our view in front of us. Yeah, the office is there. Actually, that's the entrance to the clubhouse. Entrance to the office there. And then behind this wall, behind this fencing, are some mounds for the pitchers and catchers. And then behind that is a field. So we're talking where behind Frank, there's a sidewalk back here. Do you think that's 500 feet?
I think it's got to be, yeah. So the ball ends up in the shrubs of the Cardinal offices.
Hit the sidewalk, land in the shrubs. A Paul Goldschmidt batting practice ball hit at least probably 500 feet today. It was like the talk of the morning.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask the people who haven't missed a day of spring training here at Roger Dean, and the commish, Rick Hummel, says, no, I've never seen anything like that. And then Brian Bartow, no, I've never seen anything like that. So it was insane. And then right after that, about 20 minutes later, many of the infielders go in, but Paul Goldschmidt walks with the outfielders to another field, and Jose Oquindo is hitting fungos to the 6 or 7 outfielders, and Paul Goldschmidt is sitting or kneeling right next to him, catching the ball and then tossing it to Jose to hit fungos. You think like Barry Bonds ever did that? I think Mark McGwire did that. How many face of the franchise players are helping one of your coaches hit fungos?
Yeah, and I think everyone knew right away the type of person they were getting in Goldie. You've never heard a bad thing about the man. You knew he was just a stand-up guy, very humble. He's a superstar who doesn't act like a superstar. He seems to be very selfless, and of course that's something else you can root for.
John Mozeliak talked about, because everybody wants to know, can you sign him? And John Mozeliak has been pretty adamant about this. He needs to fall in love with our town. He needs to find out what St. Louis is all about. Yeah. Now, one guy who has a pretty good idea about it, although he really hasn't played her that much, is Andrew Miller. And he told us, hey, that's the main reason. I'm here because this is an unbelievable baseball town, and I want to be a part of it. Yeah,
he did. He says he thinks the Cardinals are a great fit for him because he simply wants to win. It's the type of club he wants to play for. And he also mentioned that he doesn't care about his bullpen role. He seemed very genuine about that answer. We asked him, do you want to be the closer? He said he doesn't care. He just wants to win.
Yeah, how about that? I think the most interesting thing, too, about Andrew Miller is, and he doesn't want to take credit for it, but he did change the way managers managed, because your most elite arm usually has the 9th inning. Yeah. Well, in Cleveland, you know what? We can bring him in the 6th, 7th, the 8th, have him pitch 2 or 3 innings. And now that's what a lot of people do, and he'll be kind of a hybrid reliever here for the Cardinals.
I also want to talk about, again, we talk about this, just ad nauseum, but the pitching depth is just unprecedented. I mean, you've been doing this for a lot longer than me. You've been in this market for 25 years. You grew up a Cardinal fan from St. Louis. Not only just the Cardinals, when's the last time you remember an organization having 10, possibly 11 legitimate possible starting pitchers.
Yeah, we've always come in with like 6 or 7, never 10 or 11.
Nearly a dozen guys. And Genesis Cabrera is a guy that you may not have heard of, who just had an amazing winter ball, who Mozeliak is really big on. Mike Schultz said that during winter ball he was getting text messages, his phone was blowing up saying, hey, this kid is legitimate, he is for real. So Genesis Cabrera is another guy no one's talking about yet, who I don't think I'm crazy by saying he could be this year's Jack Flaherty.
Yeah, who knows? Now, ahead of him, though, is John Gant, who was really good last year, who we talked to today. Ahead of him is Dakota Hudson, who was really good, who we also talked to. And ahead of him is Austin Gomber, who, oh, by the way, went 6-2. I think Hudson's abilities may translate to the pen. Now, look, if you're a young guy, Josh, you definitely want to be a starting pitcher, because starting pitchers make ridiculous, insane money. Bullpen guys don't. So, but the bottom line is with Dakota is he'd still rather be a starter in St. Louis. I mean, a reliever in St. Louis than a starter in Memphis.
Yeah, I don't blame him. You want to be at the big league club when you're that young, and that you want to get the experience needed, but you want to get that experience knowing that there is room for growth and that they're going to give you every opportunity to prove yourself to become a starter. And I think all the guys feel like they have that opportunity. Hudson says that, he wants to be in the starting rotation, but he's really open to any way he can grow as a pitcher. You asked him, I think he might have been one of the first guys you asked this question. Frank asked a lot of guys. Frank asked a lot of the starting pitchers today, okay, if you were facing a starting pitcher, who is the one guy on the team you would not want to face? They all had the same answer.
Carlos Martinez. And that's unbelievable because you have so many different arms to choose from. And it was like unanimous. Didn't even hesitate. Oh, I don't want to face Carlos.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what. And I think everyone, all Cardinals Nation knows the type of challenges Carlos has had off the field along to go with his injury history. It was good to see Carlos show up today. He was already here. I saw him for the first time today. He showed up today at camp, clean cut, smiling, clean shaven. He just looked really sharp. I said, Carlos, muy guapo. He just kind of ignored me. Maybe I don't blame him. But he looked really good. I mean, he's very handsome in Spanish.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
My wife's Mexican. Hey, babe. So I know a little bit, muy poquito Spanish. But, he looked really good. He looked healthy, happy, and he still has it. I mean, and Schultz said today when we talked to him, it's sprinkling right now.
Yeah.
Why is it sprinkling? It's Florida. I guess that's why it's sprinkling. Your daily 5-minute shower here. But Schultz said that they are grooming Carlos to be a starter again. As of right now, they don't want to put him in the bullpen. So that's
I think Mike Maddox said something the other day. I really like him out of the bullpen, but I think he's going to get first crack.
Every opportunity to be a starter.
Yeah. All right, we've talked about a lot of the pitchers. Let's talk about some of the everyday players. And by the way, we should mention Jed Jerko and Dexter Fowler, the only two that weren't here, were here today, and they were on the field. One guy we spoke with, and I think he's got a future in broadcasting, much like a former center fielder named Jim Edmonds, who's in broadcasting, is Harrison Bader, who I think has a chance to be long-term one of the greatest defensive center fielders we've ever had. And that's saying a lot with the Willie McGee's and the Edmondsons, the Terry Moores. We've had some great ones, but I like his swagger, and I like the fact that he's had a little taste of success, but boy, he's still as hungry as heck. Yeah,
and he also remains level-headed, which I like. I don't like to speak in hyperbole, and it's hard not to when you're around these guys. And again, I said this yesterday, I try not to be a homer. I grew up a St. Louis Cardinals fan. That being said, I try to remain professional, try to remain I try to remain objective. But that being said, Bader seems like the real deal. And I feel like when Matt Carpenter called him a superstar on the radio last month, I don't think he was speaking in hyperbole either. I think because of Bader's intentions, his work ethic, because of his raw talent, this is a guy that could legitimately go 20-20, get a Gold Glove, and be a team leader and be a perennial staple in center field for a long time for the Cardinals.
One guy who didn't get the Gold Glove last year, who should have, was Colton Wong. Statistically, he was as good as anybody. And I like this combo and this rapport and this chemistry of Colton Wong and Paul DeYoung. They've been here for over a month picking up ground balls from Jose Oquendo.
It's crazy.
And you know, when Mike Schilt said we got 5 or 6 potential Gold Glovers, he was including DeYoung in there, who really scored well in that defensive run save category. So those two young guns developing chemistry and picking up the ball pretty well, that is something else.
Yeah, and it was also really encouraging to hear that Colton, he put it really well. You know, he's not bitter about not getting that Gold Glove. He said, hey, DJ LeMahieu, Javi Baez, who's to say they're not just as great? It just comes down to a few votes. But that being said, he said not getting that Gold Glove makes him even hungrier for it. So, you know, he's going to be working really hard this year on his defense even more so.
All right, another story today was...
As it continues to rain on us right now. This is crazy.
Valentine's Day, and actually it was changed to Burdentine's Day.
Burdentine's Day.
John Brebbia bought a bunch of roses. He gave them to some teammates. He gave one to John Mozeliak. I saw that one. Talk about sucking up to the boss.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to give some to our boss, Tiffany, right away so we can stay down here a little bit longer. And then the highlight of it was he walked outside and gave it to a female that was a big Cardinal fan.
Yeah.
And he's your favorite guy, isn't he?
Today he's my favorite Cardinal. Yesterday was probably Tyler O'Neill. And today Brebbia stole the show because he made a good point. He said, you know, he realizes that, you know, that he's a professional baseball player and how many people get to say that they play professional baseball. And he's proud of the fact that he can grow out a beard whenever he wants to and he can go to the workplace. He said looking like a buffoon. That's the exact word he used. And, you know, he's just a laid back guy. He's here to do his job. But if it's Valentine's Day, we're in beautiful Florida, there's some fans right over here outside the gate. Why not have fun with the fans, interact with the fans, and I guess make up your own little holiday while doing so. It's pretty cool. It was fun.
I was shooting video when you were with Schilt and Mozeliak. Tell me anything jump out at you at all from their scrums with the media this afternoon?
Yeah, well,
what's the most
with
interesting thing that jumped out at you?
With Schultz, you know, I asked him about Genesis Cabrera. That's when he told me that
Okay.
he got a lot of text messages during his winter ball saying how impressive Cabrera looked. That stuck out to me. Again, we talk about his communication all the time. I'm like, I mean, what are you doing? Because all your players keep talking about how you're the best communicator they've ever had. He gave a really lengthy answer, and I can't really give it back to you verbatim. I have to go back and take a look at what he said, but. You know, he in the middle of talking to me, he said, "Oh, happy Valentine's Day, by the way." I just think that goes to show he's just very genuine and down to earth, and he tries to relate with you.
Yeah, the media is a big fan of Mike Schilt. There's no doubt about it.
That we really are. And as it continues to rain, we should probably cut this short here pretty soon. But keep watching.
We'll be back tomorrow on that channel.
Keep watching KSDK Channel 5 tonight, 5, 6, 10. Frank has plenty of awesome updates you did not see on this Facebook Live chat. And yeah, if you have questions, send it to us. J Helmuth at KSDK.com, F Cusumano at KSDK.com. Send us your questions. We'll try to answer them for you. Thanks, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.